Tonight on Elon Local News.
Packing up, Elon students forced out of their dorm. We'll tell you what made their floor come apart.
From head to heart, a conversation started with Elon's Muslim community.
And finally, searching for a stolen piece of Elon's heritage.
We'll have those stories and more.
Elon Local News starts right now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jackie Pascal.
And I'm Brianna McClelland. We begin tonight with news from historic neighborhood. Part of coming to college can be the excitement of moving into a dorm, but our Connor McCoy met with students having to completely move out of their dorm by the end of today.
For Elon freshman Virginia Little and her roommate, move-out day came earlier than expected, after the women noticed something strange in their Virginia Hall dorm room.
Apparently there's a steam leak under our floor that is causing our tiles to come up, and I don't know what else it's doing to our room, honestly.
Elon's physical plant says it's not steam, but a hot water leak. The problem started underneath West Residence Hall when one of the pipes leaked, which traveled to Virginia Hall, causing this damage.
And then Friday they came and they told us we had to be out by Monday and they needed to give us new places to go.
According to physical plant, they repaired the pipe but don't know what caused the leak. And Little's room wasn't the only one affected. The girls in room 118 are also being relocated, so physical plant can completely retile the rooms. While Little doesn't like the situation, she understands it can happen.
I think it's just a really inconvenient place to, because it's an old dorm, so of course we're gonna have troubles, and then the fact that we're in the corner, that's where most of the piping is.
And while the first year of college can be difficult on any normal circumstance, Little says she's chosen to stay flexible.
It's just really frustrating because I love my roommate and we work well together. I don't really want to leave her, but it happens, I guess.
Connor McCoy, Elon Local News.
The girls are being relocated to other residence halls within the historic neighborhood. Physical Plant says they are working to fix the floors by the end of spring break.
Down the road from campus, Alamance Regional Medical Center, located on Huffman Mill Road, has been placed in the top 10% of hospitals across the country in both medical and patient safety categories, according to the 2016 National Care Checks Hospital Awards. Care Checks gives ratings to help hospitals improve. ARMC placed high in categories like cardiac and stroke care, as well as overall medical care. This comes after the 2014 National Survey gave the hospital a D+ rating and in 2013 a C rating.
The first person with the Zika virus in North Carolina is no longer sick. According to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, the patient had recently traveled to a country with ongoing Zika transmission, but no longer has symptoms. The department says no cases of the disease have been known to have been contracted in North Carolina or elsewhere in the United States, with the exception of one infection in Texas. The mosquito-borne virus, while not currently spreading in the United States, is spreading in Latin America and the Caribbean. The North Carolina Department of Health has not yet released any plan regarding how the department plans to prevent the spread of Zika as warmer months approach and mosquito activity increases.
And joining us in studio is ELN's Andrew Feather with more news making headlines today. Andrew?
The United States and Russia announced a proposed ceasefire in Syria early today. The ceasefire would start on Saturday at midnight and does not include organizations the United Nations deems as terrorist groups such as the Islamic State. As part of the agreement, the Syrian government and opposition forces will stop attacks against one another. According to White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest, President Obama called Russian President Vladimir Putin today to discuss the agreement. The Uber driver arrested for a killing spree in Kalamazoo, Michigan, was charged today with 6 counts of murder and held without bail. 45-year-old Jason Brian Dalton is accused of shooting 8 people and killing 6 on Saturday night. Dalton was quiet at his hearing, saying that he preferred to remain silent. He is due back in court on March 3rd. The Charlotte City Council is expected to vote later today on changes to a non-discrimination ordinance. The proposed changes would protect members of the LGBT community from discrimination in businesses. Among the proposals is one that would allow people to choose restrooms based on the gender they identify with. North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory is vowing legislative action if the non-discrimination ordinance passes, saying it would, quote, create major public safety issues. I'm Andrew Feather. Jackie and Brianna, back to you.
Thanks, Andrew. And now for the most up-to-date election news. The latest Elon poll results are in, and Donald Trump is on top in the GOP, but not overall. Trump leads Ted Cruz by 9 points, with Marco Rubio trailing close behind. Ben Carson and John Kasich are polling at no more than 10%.
On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton leads Bernie Sanders 47 to 37% in the Tar Heel state. When matched up to each other, Clinton trumps the Donald 47 to 41%. More than 1,500 likely North Carolina voters participated in this most recent Elon poll, which was conducted last week.
The poll results come as the South Carolina and Nevada primaries are underway.
Nevada held its Democratic caucuses where Hillary Clinton beat Bernie Sanders 52.6% to 47.3%.
Down in South Carolina, voters cast their ballot in the Republican presidential primary, and Elon had reporters across the Palmetto State giving us the latest results and reactions. Donald Trump was first at 32.5%. This is his second presidential primary win this campaign season. Trailing behind him was Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz. The two senators were close, but Rubio held on with the second place spot with 22.5% of the vote to Cruz's 22.3%.
After his win in South Carolina, Trump, with his family by his side, addressed supporters at a victory rally.
There's nothing easy about running for president, I can tell you. It's tough, it's nasty, it's mean, it's vicious, it's beautiful. When you win.
And while he did not place in the top 3 in South Carolina, Jeb Bush made news by suspending his campaign Saturday night, leaving many wondering where his votes and financial support will go now that he is out of the race. Our Michaela Healy reports on the hole that Jeb leaves behind.
The people of Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina have spoken, and I really respect their decision. So tonight, I am suspending my campaign.
For some, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush changed the shape of the 2016 election cycle with his announcement following his 4th place finish in the South Carolina primary.
I didn't see that coming. I honestly was expecting him to go on to Nevada and Super Tuesday, so that was quite the shock. But I don't know what to do now.
But according to director of the Elon University poll, Dr. Kenneth Fernandez, it won't make much of a difference.
Jeb Bush dropping out, not a huge game changer, but I think that some of the more moderate conservatives like Kasich and Rubio are looking to pick up some of those votes.
After joining the race in July with more than $100 million backing his campaign, Bush didn't connect with Republican voters, continually slipping in the polls throughout the year. According to a Fox News national poll conducted in the week before the South Carolina primary, Bush had 9% of the vote. Fernandez says Marco Rubio will most likely receive the biggest boost from Bush's decision.
A substantial number of Jeb Bush voters would go to Rubio.
Fernandez says he believes it's likely Bush will give his support to a candidate this week in time for the March 1st primaries, when people in 14 states will cast their votes.
I think right now, going into Super Tuesday, Jeb Bush's endorsement would matter more than afterward.
He also says people shouldn't count out Donald Trump, who won both the South Carolina and New Hampshire primaries.
You know, I think a lot of people, including myself, probably said 6 months ago that it just could not be Donald Trump. No one's willing to say that anymore. I think no one wants to eat their hat.
He says the race for the Republican nomination, while entertaining, is too close to call.
Political scientists and pundits are sort of at a loss, and we're just sort of watching this, just like everyone else is, watching this interesting carnival to see what happens.
Michaela Healy, Elon Local News.
And this weekend's Republican caucus in Nevada will give a clear standing on where Bush's support ended up.
And this Thursday evening, be sure to tune in to Elon Local News for live coverage of the Student Government Association election speeches and debate. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. from Studio B. Come be a part of the live audience or watch online at elonlocalnews.com or on Channel 5.
Another issue catching the attention of candidates is the legal battle between the FBI and technology giant Apple. The federal government ordered Apple to unlock the San Bernardino gunman's iPhone to help authorities investigate the motives behind the incident that left 14 people dead in December. Today, Apple CEO Tim Cook released a memo to employees saying a court order like this could set a, quote, dangerous precedent. Elon professor of communication Janet Anderson says privacy issues like this have larger implications for college-age students in the future.
Right. Advocate for the safety and security of people everywhere. We do have to stop organized crime from tapping into our devices. We do have to stop terror organizations from being enabled as much as possible.
When we come back, seeking out conversations rather than conflict. Wearing hijab is not just for the Muslim community.
And brothers and sisters could soon be living under one roof. We'll have that story next. It has been gloomy and raining on and off all day. Alex, am I going to need my umbrella and my raincoat for the rest of this week? Let me know.
Well, Brianna, it's that time of year when North Carolina can't exactly decide what season it is. After a nice warm weekend, temperatures dropped and rainy, gloomy weather rolled into Elon. And it might be getting worse before it gets better. We've got temperatures in the low 40s and 100% chance of precipitation overnight. And taking a look at the Phoenix 5-day forecast now, it looks like some of that rainy weather is going to hang around for a few days with an 80% chance of precipitation tomorrow and Wednesday. It'll be a little chilly tomorrow with temps in the 40s. Things will warm up to around 60 degrees on Wednesday, but that means that we might see some thunderstorms. Later in the week, though, we'll have much clearer skies with no rain in the forecast. It'll be partly cloudy on Thursday, but once Friday rolls around, it's nothing but sunshine through the weekend. Temperatures are going to even out as well, with daytime highs around 50 degrees, slipping just below freezing overnight. So you might want to hang on to that jacket for a couple of days this week, but keep in mind, we got a nice sunny weekend for you coming up ahead. Jackie, back to you.
Thanks, Alex. We reported new lights were added to the Young Commons side of Haggard Avenue between Williamson and O'Kelly. Now we have a price tag. ELN spoke to Physical Plant Director Robert Buckles, who told us the 19 recently installed lights are costing the university's operations budget more than $80,000, making it just more than $4,000 per light. The new lights are LEDs, which means they use less energy than the existing gas lights while putting out more electricity. Buckles says while Physical Plants and the university have done what they can do, it's up to pedestrians and drivers to make sure they're paying attention at all times.
My business is to take care of what's here and make improvements so it's safer, and trying to make it 100% safe. To do that, it takes everybody involved. I mean, it takes the drivers, it takes the people, and it takes the environment that you put them in.
Some students could have the opportunity to be part of Elon history because the Loy Center is getting revamped. Starting next year, a new housing option will be available to all fraternity and sorority life affiliates. Elon Assistant Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life, Jordan King, says the office is currently accepting applications. Open to students of all genders, the house would be the first co-ed house in the Loy Center. IFC Director of Recruitment, Ryan Smith, believes the new option fits with FSL values.
The goal of FSL, IFC Panhandle is to do more things together. I think, you know, this idea is bold. It's not really something we've ever done before, but that's the best way to share ideas, to make bonds, and that it emphasizes all the things that I think FSL does really well.
Elsewhere on campus, other students are sharing different ideas. Our Megan Ford spent time with Muslim and non-Muslim students whose message, they say, is one of understanding, not fear.
Anna Torres-Zeb says being a Muslim in everyday America can be hard.
I used the example of being in Target, and I was walking by an aisle and a woman kind of pulled her child away from me with the look of fear in her eyes. Those kind of small things that happen just, you know, daily or weekly, and you're always experiencing, can be very exhausting.
As Elon's Muslim Life Coordinator, she understands the need for conversation about the greater Muslim community.
It's the 1-year anniversary of the Chapel Hill shootings, and so there's definitely a moment of pause in the community to think about these topics of Islamophobia.
One way members of the Elon community are helping others to think differently is through World Hijab Day.
What we are trying to do is invite people to wear the hijab for a day, for an hour, for however long they wish to, in an act of interfaith solidarity to work to normalize difference on campus.
The global movement started in 2013, and this year the Truett Center hosted a World Hijab Day event in the Newman Lumen Pavilion.
Thank you for allowing me to feel just to be a Muslim here, and it's okay.
Torres-Zeb says there are roughly 15 Muslim students currently at Elon. Members of the community say they hope conversations about Islamophobia awareness will continue and wearing a hijab will be a normal sight. Megan Ford, Elon Local News.
The conversation about Islamophobia does not stop after National Hijab Day. The conversation continues on Elon's campus with the Hijabi Monologues this Friday at 7:30 in Whitley Auditorium. The project brings to life the diversity of Muslim Americans along with issues of race, gender, and religious tolerance. The Hijabi Monologues have been performed at colleges and universities around the nation and throughout the world. This event is sponsored by the Truett Center and is part of the Ripple Conference, a gathering of college students for interfaith conversation and leadership development.
Coming up on Elon Local News, you may have seen these hats covering the heads of Elon students. Next, we uncover the cause for the cap.
I'm Gary Drumbach, and after the break, I'll bring you the mystery of a lost work of Elon art. Coming up.
Today starts Colleges Against Cancer's Paint the Campus Purple Week. This week is Paint the Campus Purple Week, a week aimed at raising awareness to prevent cancer, as well as promoting Relay for Life, Colleges Against Cancer's biggest event of the year. Events this week include sponsoring the trivia at Fat Frog Bar and Grill Tuesday night from 8 p.m. to midnight. On Wednesday, Pandora's Pies is having a special purpose ice cream cake. Later Wednesday night will be S'mores with Survivors from 10 to 11 p.m. on the Quarry Gym patio. Thursday night is Drunken Donuts outside Tony's Pubs and Subs and West End Terrace starting at 11 p.m. And lastly, on Friday, the Elon community is encouraged to wear purple throughout the day to raise awareness for this cause. Rachel Fenimore is the executive director of Colleges Against Cancer.
We're not only here as an organization to raise money and awareness, we're here to tell people, hey, you know, we've been in the same boat. We're here, our door's always open for people that either feel helpless, like a lot of times that's a lot of students and faculty members feel very helpless in the fight against cancer. And so this is a way for us to open up our doors and be like, here, you can join us. Like, we're doing something, we're trying as hard as we can.
If you want to learn more about Paint the Campus Purple or Colleges Against Cancer, check out their Facebook page or stop by their office in Moseley.
Another movement is coming to campus, and this time it's a fashion movement. The Love Your Melon campaign has made its way to Elon's campus with hopes of putting a hat and a smile on every child battling cancer across the nation. Founded in 2012, the hat company is now represented by 9,000 college students at nearly 600 schools and was recently brought to Elon's campus in January. Junior Madeline Watson, Senior Carly Caston, and Senior Jessica Cervini are a few Elon representatives helping bring Love Your Melon to the head and hearts of students. They say the hats have become quite the conversation starter.
But so far, a lot of people, like when we wear our hats around, like people ask me about it all the time.
Yeah, a lot of people came up to me being like, when's the next product release? Like, I want to buy a hat. Like, it was all sold out last time.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are like very supportive and want to get involved, which is a great thing to hear about.
The next product release is tonight at 7 p.m. Each hat costs $30. The representatives we spoke to said the Elon chapter is still trying to make enough sales to meet the quota in order to fulfill the promise of giving one hat to a child for each hat sold. Check out loveyourmelon.com for more product details.
Toe-tapping tunes-filled Whitley Auditorium as Elon's a cappella group Vital Signs hosted its third annual Make-A-Wish benefit concert Saturday night. All of the concert's proceeds go to the local Make-A-Wish chapter, a foundation granting wishes for children with life-threatening illnesses. The event featured all 6 of Elon's a cappella groups, plus a group from Wake Forest University. In addition to the music, the audience heard from Elon and Vital Signs alum Nick Cook, who started the event to help other families after his little sister's wish to go to Disney World was granted, which event coordinator Blair Foreman says helps bring the event home.
I think is so awesome to be able to bring someone from our Elon community and get her to talk in front of us. So I'm really excited about that because in the past we've had families with younger children, which is also great. But having an Elon student is just a different perspective.
Up next on sports, the Phoenix baseball team slides into a new season. We have the highlights when we come back. Welcome back to Elon Local News. Swing and a miss. That about sums it up after the dismal start to the Elon Phoenix baseball season of to bat against the Wright State Raiders. The team made history, but for the wrong reason. The Phoenix dropped its season opener at Latham Park 7-9, making it the first loss on opening day in 5 years. As the weekend series continued, no W's were to be found. On Saturday, a doubleheader ended up in a double Elon loss, 11-13 and 2-10. And to round off the 4-game matchup, Sunday's game finished with a final score of 11 runs for the Raiders and just 2 for the Phoenix. After the game, Elon head coach Mike Kennedy spoke to Elon about where he sees the team going from here.
This past weekend, I don't think it'll be what you'll see in our club moving forward. I think you're going to see a much better ball club. We've got some parts and pieces we got to get back together, and once we do, I think come mid-March, you're going to see a much better ball club.
Elon hopes to turn things around in its next game tomorrow afternoon at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. First pitch is set for 4 o'clock.
From home runs to home courts, members of the Phoenix family came together in support of the university's athletic program for the 9th annual Night of the Phoenix on Friday. The fundraiser, held in an alumni gym, held a silent auction, dinner, and performances by student a cappella groups Twisted Measure and Ripcord. At the end of the night, nearly $167,000 was raised, more than any previous Night of the Phoenix, which Director of Athletics Dave Blank says is a win for athletes and the community.
Anytime people that live in our community can see the value of our product, which are the students that attend here, it's a great thing for us. That's why we're all here, to serve the students and make sure they have a great experience.
And our Gary Grumbach went on the hunt for a long-lost treasure.
Call it the case of the missing painting. Special Advisor to President Lambert, David Morrow, reported to Elon campus police last week that a painting went missing from McMichael Science Building. Elon University police say there's no real time frame of the theft. They say it happened sometime after the dedication of McMichael Science Building in 1999. Valued at $7,500, the painting of Elon donor Dalton McMichael Sr. was commissioned in 1998 to celebrate the opening of the building named after him. While a new portrait of McMichael is hanging in the Science Building, the original painting hasn't been seen in 18 years. Elon's student newspaper, The Pendulum, published a satirical piece in the voice of the missing painting in spring of 2000, saying, "First off, I want you to know that I'm safe. Contrary to rumors, I was not converted into a placemat, nor was my face cut out to make me into a target for pie tossing." So who's the culprit of this crime?
I was about 3 years old, I think. Just probably hanging out, relying on my parents.
Probably just chilling in my diaper in my crib.
So you didn't steal any painting of Dalton McMichael in spring of 1999?
I do not think I did.
Sounds like we can check current Elon students off of the suspect list. Iris Holt McEwen hasn't seen it. And if Carol Belk knows, she isn't saying a word. It's not under there. So the case is still open. The original painting is out there somewhere. The search continues. On the prowl for the painting, Gary Grumbach, Elon Local News.
If you have any information on the whereabouts of this painting, please contact campus police at 336-278-5555.
All right, and that's all the news we have for you tonight.
For any of the local news, check us out on social media at Elon Local News on Facebook and Twitter.
From all of us here at ELN, have a great night, Elon.